Hey there, everybody. Pete here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of the Monsters Den alongside Chris Alo and Rich Catino. It is the official review of Godzilla versus Kong. We've all three seen it yesterday. We've got our review. So what'd you think, guys? Chris, I'll start with you.
I liked it. I did not love it. I liked it better than King of the Monsters because King of the Monsters had a lot of stupid shit in it. And there's a lot of stupid shit in this, but not as much as the last one. It's really a King Kong movie more than a Godzilla movie. And it's okay. It didn't suck, but I didn't love it. I think of these four Kongverse movies or whatever we're calling them, I think Kong on Skull Island is still my favorite. And me and my buddy Sean watched it. We picked a lot of things that were from other movies or other properties. And at the end, I turned and I said to Sean, who hasn't yet seen Justice League, I go, I know it's total apples and oranges, but these are two movies that premiered at my house and my home theater. I go, I sure like Justice League a lot better. If I was going to watch one again right now, I'd take Justice League.
Rich, your first thoughts.
I enjoyed it also. Didn't love it. Didn't think it was bad. I don't know if I like it more than King of the Monsters, maybe about the same level, but I think I like Skull Island better out of all of them as well.
Yep.
But this one definitely had more action.
Yeah.
I like the way that this one, they finally keep the camera on the action when it's happening. You're still getting those cutaways with the action with the people and destruction and things like that, but it stays more on the monsters when they're fighting. So that was definitely a plus. But like Chris said, it's a little bit ridiculous, a little over the top. But after you comment, we can get into that next. But it wasn't like ridiculous where I was like, this is like stupid. It was just fun. It was like it was definitely a popcorn movie.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. It has its faults. There were scenes and parts of the film that I thought were really well done. I marked out a couple times. And here's the thing, and we've talked about this ad nauseum over the last couple of months. I basically knew exactly how this movie had to go.
Yeah,
there was only one way this film could go. And I can't tell you how many people contacted me over the last couple days, last week. Who do you think is going to win the big fight? Who do you think is going to win the big fight? And spoiler alert, everybody, okay, if you haven't seen it, stop watching now. I knew going in, they're going to fight once, maybe twice. Nobody's going to really win, although that's debatable. And then they're going to team up to fight another big baddie, and then they're going to shake hands and go their separate ways.
I mean, it's no different than Batman versus Superman. If anybody thought that there was going to be a clear-cut winner in that.
No, yeah. I knew this. I wrote the script.
Yeah, nobody wants to see either one die, so you can't end the franchise for either monster either. Right. So what are you going
to do? They gave you a half a second of Mechagodzilla in the trailer. So if anybody who knows anything about these films watched that trailer, you saw that tiny little glimpse. So you knew that's where they were going here. They gave you the teaser in the last freaking film, right? When they stole the head of Ghidorah, right? Because of course, what are you going to use that for? Right. So it's almost like I read the script. But here's the deal. I thought the monster fights were really well done, and they were long, which plus there. What was the purpose of these three idiots throughout this entire film? You could have taken out every scene.
It would have saved 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And it wasn't needed. And
totally pointless.
It defies logic. So you have this. First of all, this one kid who was in Deadpool.
Yeah, it was the fat kid from Deadpool, 7-Eleven from Stranger Things, and Cedric the Entertainer.
And it's just like they didn't need them, and they're traipsing all around all these government facilities, and nobody notices them. Nobody. Right. I mean, literally.
What that kid's purpose was? To represent Judas Priest twice.
I guess
that was the best. I loved it. That was great.
Did you notice though? Why was there a costume change with him? Everybody was in the same clothes, right?
Right, he was wearing a Screaming for Vengeance shirt.
Screaming for Vengeance, then he has Defenders in a scene or two later. I'm like, wait, when did this happen? But I was
Probably
like,
spilled
all right,
like a
that's cool. I
meatball
mean, you're
sandwich all
representing-
over it or something.
Yeah.
like something, but I was like, you're representing two great pre-stabs. So
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I-
I'll
you know,
take it.
that's very
Yeah.
interesting, Rich.
But I don't, and another thing too, at least this is the way I took it. If it wasn't for the damn axe and all the power,
you mean Thor's Stormbreaker?
Exactly.
I mean, holy shit.
Yeah.
Was that Groot for the fucking handle or what?
I know, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for that, let's be honest here. Kong got his ass kicked, and
Both times.
Godzilla
Both
could have
times.
killed him twice. He
Yep.
drowned him, basically almost drowned him in the first fight, and the second fight he had him crushed on
He
the
had him
ground.
pinned. Yep.
And then I thought this was a great scene actually, where he is done. And Godzilla has his foot on his chest. He's ripped to shreds. He's no strength left. He's done. And Godzilla screams in his face. He screams back, and they look at each other. And Godzilla basically says, "You're my bitch," and it's like,
Yep.
"You're done," and walks away. Right? That's
it. So if anybody's really wondering who wins, it's totally Godzilla, which is interesting because it's totally a King Kong movie.
right.
This is not a Godzilla movie.
Yeah, up to that point.
Yeah, Godzilla's barely in it.
He's barely in this movie.
But I thought that the Mechagodzilla part, and I knew it was coming, and I thought he looked pretty cool.
See, I did not like the design of Mechagodzilla at all.
He still doesn't look this badass.
No, I hated the look.
Yeah, but considering what you knew they were probably going to do here,
Right.
I didn't mind it much.
I thought Mechagodzilla being hooked up to a human pilot neurologically was straight out of Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
And I also thought
and I hate corny rims. So I was like,
and I thought they totally screwed the pooch because to me, the whole concept of Mechagodzilla was whoever builds him puts the coating on the outside to make him look like Godzilla. So he destroys shit. So people then don't like Godzilla. If you're making a giant robot to combat Godzilla, why would you give him a tail and tail fins and a snout? Like you just make it the robot. I mean, I know why they made Mecha, but you know what I'm saying? It just didn't make any, like all this other shit. There's a million things in this movie that make no sense. Like, okay, we got to go through a time warp through liquid magma in these fucking crazy helicopters, like in Pacific Rim, to go to the center of the earth to get there. But then to get out, let's just have Godzilla blow a fucking hole through the center of the earth, and let's just have King Kong jump through it, and that's it. We'll just
And
go
exactly where Godzilla was in China, it was right above where they are in Hollow Earth.
He knew exactly where to put that hole in.
Yeah, that part was ridiculous. Yeah.
And then let's send our heroes into these heave fucking suits. They're going to give them suits just like the X-Men, and we're going to send them into the center of the earth, but our heroes are going to be unarmed. So that when a dinosaur comes out, Alexander Schwarzguards or whatever the fuck his name is, he's got to throw a rock at the dinosaur. What? You're working for this company that does all this military tech, and you're telling me you went in weaponless. You just throw a rock, throw a pebble at a fucking dinosaur.
Yeah.
I mean, it's shit like that. Plus, I think King Kong talking is stupid. King Kong wielding an axe is kind of cool, but kind of ridiculous at the same time. I mean, there's a lot, I got a whole fucking list of things that I hate the fucking.
I noticed too, they talked about 17 Titans in one of the previous movies, right?
Oh, did they?
Yeah, there was like 17. I think they did King of the Monsters. So, and that one, you only see, 3 or 4 other ones aside from Godzilla, King Ghidorah, Rodan, and Mothra. So you got 4 right there. Kong is the 5th one. So there's another 12 or 13 of them out there. You got a couple cameos in King of the Monsters, right? Then in this movie, it says, I don't know, on the screen, they're all popping up. It says defeated or something like that for each one of them.
Right.
So you got Skull Island. You got all these other 12 or 13 other monsters that we've never seen. Talk about them. There's names and stuff that show up on, monitors and screens and everything, but we never see them in the movie. That was another disappointment. I was like, you talk about these Titans and we get none of them on Skull Island, none of them elsewhere on the planet, aside from that serpent winged bat thing that.
Right. And I like that part. I like that fight. But realistically.
You know how fast that went? That went by like that. It was like Godzilla Final Wars. It went by that fast.
But the other thing we all got to remember with this movie, The last Godzilla movie was a flop. The only reason we even got this movie was because it was already in production when Godzilla King of the Monsters came out and shit the bed. So they'd already
shit the bed. I don't think it completely did though.
I mean, I don't know what the exact numbers
are. It
are.
didn't make tons of money like they hoped, but it made money. But
all these movies keep making, unlike say the Marvel movies, all these movies keep making less money than the predecessor. So you've got Godzilla, Kong on Skull Island made less, King of the Monsters made less. So the only reason that we even got this movie because they'd already started it. That's why there's no stinger at the end of the movie, no secret scene teasing anything else, because it's real up in the air if there's going to be anything else. Yeah. This might be it.
And you know why Mechagodzilla was in too? Because they used Mechagodzilla in that Ready Player One movie. So they already had the rights to him already. So I kind of figured that's why that he is in this movie and not somebody like Destroyer or Biollante or something.
Well, I guess too. I mean,
they have to pay for the rights to get another monster, so they could just use him again.
Well, I'm sure they had to pay some, but I mean, there's nowhere. They're in the corner now. Like you already used Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah. Like after Mechagodzilla, nobody knows Destroyer outside Japan. Yeah, nobody knows.
Yeah, but if you got Godzilla and Kong in a movie, I think you're sold right there. You introduce a new monster like Destroyer. Sure.
But like Pete said, we all knew how this was going to go. You know? We all knew that this was Batman and Superman fighting for a little bit and then teaming up to fight Doom at the end. I mean, it was there was no other way it was going.
So now basically, they both teamed up together to destroy Mechagodzilla, and they both looked at each other. I guess there was a show of respect, and I guess the way you take this now is Godzilla is going to be the king of the monsters up above, and Kong is going to be king down below in Hollow Earth.
Interesting. Well, that's an interesting take, Pete. I didn't think about that, but I also kind of thought, all right, so King Kong just wanted to go home, but then he doesn't go home. He goes to this new place.
Right.
Obviously, Kong has a longing for friends or family, but we don't see any other Kong people or Kong monkeys.
Right.
So what's the fucking point? He's there by himself now? I thought that was kind of strange. If that was Kong's arc to have him meet up with some other big monkeys.
Yeah. Well, the way they played it out is that millions of years ago, Kong and his family and a lot of these other creatures came from Hollow Earth, and somehow Hollow Earth wound up getting up to the surface. So that is his original ancestors' home, is Hollow Earth. That's why when they got down there, he knew exactly where he was going. They're like, oh, look, he's going on instinct. He knows exactly where he's heading. I don't know. Does that make any sense? Not really. But
so much.
In Kong Skull Island, that's where all the skull crawlers come from. So are they going are they coming from the center of the earth? Or are they just coming from tunnels that are under the ground that lead to the Hollow Earth? We don't know that. They didn't explain that either.
Well, how about when they find the energy of made a river, the fucking river of energy, which to me reminded me like, okay, so this is like the Decepticons stealing the Energon cubes from fucking Cybertron. Like, okay, so they get some of it. I'm like, all right, so they're gonna take it to Earth to fuel Mechagodzilla or whatever. And they're like, no, we're downloading it. And like 30 seconds later, they're like, yeah, we're done. I'm like, what is it, a fucking Metallica song? Like, what do you mean you're downloading it? What does that even mean? Right? Did that make any sense? You find this rare discovery of energy, and we're down. Like what? Like it's like a program? It's like what? But so much of this movie just was so ridiculous. And listen, as we know, the Godzilla movies in the 60s and 70s were ridiculous. And we look back, when we watch them now, they're like, okay, it's kind of charming. But, I actually said to myself, all right, so in 20 years from now, am I going to think this ridiculousness is charming?
Probably.
Like, I don't, maybe.
I don't know. Like I said, I had fun with it. I did. It's easy to pick it apart, though. That's the thing.
For sure.
There's a lot of faults. And, this. So what happened to the white-haired guy from the last movie, who's the one who actually went and bought the Ghidorah head, who was the head of...
Oh, yeah.
What did so then you got that Bashir actor guy, right?
When me and my buddy Sean watched it, we kept going, all right, so you got the dad, you got 7-Eleven from Stranger Things. We're like, where's the mom? Like, what happened? Where did she die or something? Or we couldn't remember. Yeah, did she?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. We could remember.
Yeah. But I don't know.
Yeah, let me see if what else I got. Oh, the fight scenes. I like the fight scenes, but one thing I didn't like about them, a lot of times I felt they were too tight. You know what I mean? Like I wanted them to be backed up so I could see the full bodies of.
Oh yeah, they were a little close. Yeah,
there were a lot of times it was like on the faces. I'm like, what are you doing? You know, and to me it didn't make sense because I'm like, it's not even like when it's guys in suits and you could be like, oh, the lighting wrong, or the shading wrong. You guys are making this in a computer. I want to see the monsters grappling, like back up.
Mm-hmm.
So that
I think it's better. I think it was better than what they did in King of the Monsters, though. Like I said, they kept the camera on it more. It was longer, the shots, and they weren't interrupted as often.
Yeah, and that other Godzilla movie, right? Every time we saw the monsters, they cut away. So I agree. This was definitely better than that.
And you know what I noticed too? Kong visually looks incredible. It's like the Planet of the Apes. You know how real they looked?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that you could see his fur, his hair moving, and everything.
Do you notice they made him look older though? Like if you look at compare him
that was good
to the Skull Island, he definitely looks a lot older because I think like 40 years I think have passed. Like wasn't Skull Island supposed to take place in the 70s?
Like 73, 75, something like that.
So he's definitely older, you can tell.
But the close-ups of Godzilla are not as sharp as Kong. Did you notice that?
Absolutely great.
100%.
He still looks a tad grainy. You can't really see the skin of the lizard on him.
Not good definition in the face at all. Like very boxy snout and
yeah. So his clarity on his design and his form and his scales and everything is not as sharp and clean as what Kong looks like. So I don't know what the story is with that.
And it's interesting that they gave Kong a lot to do, you know, acting wise and emotion and everything. Godzilla, they gave nothing. He's barely in this movie.
Maybe because the last movie he was the king of the monsters, he was the star, so maybe they tried to give Kong a little more screen time. You know,
it could be, but it's still called Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah,
correct.
Well, you made I think they tried really hard to get the audiences to connect with the Kong character.
Yes.
He basically gets his ass kicked twice. And then they find a way to power him up so he's the actual guy who does the final death blow to Mechagodzilla, and they both kind of shake hands and go their separate ways.
But I thought about that too, right? Like they keep saying in the beginning of the movie, oh my God, Kong and Godzilla, they're alpha titans. We can't get them together. They're gonna murder each other. We can't get them together. And then what do they do at the end? It's a tag team. I'm like, okay, I know this was the way it was going to go, but to me, I kept thinking, all right, the movie's going to be, because there's even a line in the trailer where they go, Godzilla's attacking the Earth, and Godzilla's a good guy. He's our buddy. We don't know why. So I kept thinking, okay, that's the plot then. It's going to be Mechagodzilla disguised as Godzilla,
like in this movie.
Yes,
from 74.
So that was the movie I was expecting. So then whenever they keep fighting, it's really Mechagodzilla versus Kong, and then at some point the coating comes off, and then Mechagodzilla starts kicking the shit out of Kong, who comes in to save the day, the real Godzilla.
Yeah.
And I think that movie sounds a lot better to me if you ask me.
Well, I mean, you think that is more of a believable story. I think the whole Hollow Earth and all that kind of stuff, I was like, that just.
I mean, I hate to obsess on something, but the movie ends, and I just kept thinking, so there's a fucking giant hole in Hong Kong that goes to the center of the earth. How do we fix that? Right? I mean, and then I'm like,
they didn't think that one through.
Wouldn't that like blow the Earth off its axis or something? Or
you would think,
I'm no scientist, but I'm like,
hey, new vacation spot for people. You could just take a little tram right down to the middle of the Earth, go hang out for a couple weeks. I
think science and gravity and everything else in this movie was out the window.
Oh, out the window.
Let's just take all concepts of science that we know and throw it out the window.
Yeah,
and have fun with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because
what was it when they went into the Hollow Earth? The gravity reversed or something? Wasn't that part of the story too?
There was something, but I thought, okay, how, they're able to be there in gravity, and the monsters are breathing.
Yeah.
Kong had no problem breathing. I don't know. The whole thing
Water,
is
there's grass and trees and
Yeah.
mountains and
And then I'm like, okay, well, they totally stole this from Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's book, The Lost World.
Mhm.
And there's so many things that were from other properties.
At least we didn't get like a flying Godzilla or a dancing
True.
Godzilla or any of that kind of stuff from the 60s and 70s. At least they
But
bypassed all that kind of stuff.
At the same time, Rich, if you said to me right now, would you got to watch a movie right now? Would you rather sit through Godzilla versus Kong or Godzilla versus Smog Monster or Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla from 74 or
Probably one of those.
I'll take any one of those over this new one.
I think so.
100%.
But I would watch this again at some point.
Yeah,
I would too.
I'm probably going to watch it on Sunday because we're having people over.
Yeah, I might.
And also, listen,
we got the
gets me.
family coming here, so yeah, I'm sure I'll be watching it again.
It gets me out of the house for 2 hours. So
There you go.
It was like we said in the beginning. It was fun. It's still fun. It still works on a few levels.
they did better than they did last time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Is it a cinematic classic? No.
No.
But hey, you know what? It was a good battle.
Yeah, there were some parts were okay.
Yeah.
But for all you folks like wanting a clear-cut winner, well,
Yeah, I mean,
gonna be a little
I
disappointing.
mean, I guess it's kind of Godzilla because
Yeah, it is because they had to jumpstart Kong's heart again. So
right. Yeah, the
And never
drowning
mind
thing.
what happened at the end of the film. Okay,
Yeah,
Kong got his ass kicked by Godzilla when
Right.
they were fighting twice.
yeah, and the first fight was the drowning thing. I did think that was. I go, I never thought of that.
which
Well,
was cool.
Godzilla's gotta do is drown
uses
him.
tail. Godzilla uses tail, which you don't see that often either.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
but yeah.
there
So
you have it,
you
everybody.
could do worse. It's better than that King of the Monsters.
I'm curious if they continue the universe, where they're going to go next if they try to do something.
I guess it depends how much money this thing makes.
Yeah. Well, it's a tough time, because you have theaters are open, but
Oh yeah.
it's a limited capacity, and how many more people subscribe to HBO Max just to see this, right? So we'll see.
And it's so funny if you think about it, because like I said earlier, I was comparing this to Justice League because these were the two big premieres in my house, and everybody else's house, but we're in the same exact boat with both franchises.
Right.
Like them or not, you're like, oh, okay. So is this it? Is there going to be more? They're both up in limbo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because quite frankly, they could now that they did this film with them together, they could go do. They don't need to be together anymore.
Oh, sure, they could
continue doing Godzilla movies, do a couple more Kong films, and
yeah, they could just have one of them cameo. I mean, they could do what, and I guess that's what makes this franchise easier since it's all computer generated monsters. It's not like say Justice League where you got to have the same actors and you got to hurry up before they get old and fat and ugly.
Yeah,
like you could just keep making these things no different than the rubber suits. It don't matter who's in it, just as long as you got the monsters.
Yep,
That's true.
Interesting. All right, there you have it, everybody. Some words on the new Godzilla versus Kong. I would give it I don't know, if we're doing a 0 to 5, 5 being fantastic, what would you rate it?
2.5, maybe
3.5.
Yeah, I'd give it 3.5 on entertainment value. I would give it like on an entertainment value a 4. On does it make sense? Hell no, give it a 2. So somewhere in between.
Okay, something like that. Yeah,
I guess, right? But well made. It looked good. Good looking film.
I mean, it looked good. It sounded good.
Oh yeah.
Better lit than the last Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
So Rich actually saw. We didn't even talk about this. Rich saw it in the theaters.
Oh, how'd that go, Rich? Did you now? First question: did you have to wear a mask the whole time?
There wasn't anybody walking around policing everybody, but most people, if they weren't eating popcorn, they were good at doing that. But there wasn't really many people in the theater.
So, like did you wear a mask the whole 2 hours?
Most of it, yeah.
Okay.
But we were spaced out with the people that were around us too. So there's only me and 2 other friends, and then space between other people.
What's your guess on the percentage of people in the theater, or the number of people in the?
Not too many.
Okay.
Like, what does the usual theater hold about? How many people?
Well, I mean, like every theater, like I know just going from Silver Cinemas, like the big room, they had 2 big rooms that hold like 200, but then their tiny room only had like 30 seats. So
maybe there was, I don't know, maybe 20 people in there, maybe 30 people the most.
Oh, wow. So that's pretty, for opening day, that's pretty sparse.
That's a early showing, right?
Yeah, in the afternoon. So maybe, I'm thinking maybe 20, between 20 and 30, if that.
Okay.
Yeah, even the whole theater was very quiet. It was, the whole complex. There wasn't many people there. But it looked great on the screen. It did.
I'll bet.
Sounded great.
Yeah, I will say, because we watched it on our 75-inch 4K TV, and it looked pretty impressive. But my wife and I kept looking at each other like, "Oh, this would be even cooler on the big screen." Although I bet you the picture quality was probably better on my TV or comparable. But yeah,
sure.
you missed the big, immense sound and everything of the theater. But,
and that's where you could really see the difference between Kong and Godzilla and how well they did their design and the clarity of them.
Yeah.
Like I said, Kong just looks lifelike.
Yeah.
Well, like
Godzilla
he was the star of the movie, and that's where they spent the most time on, I think.
Well, he was talking, right? I didn't rewind it, but he does say something, right?
He's in sign language.
He does sign language.
Didn't he actually say something to the little girl?
No.
I'm gonna when I watch it again on Sunday, I'm gonna pay more attention.
Yeah, I just remember him doing sign language.
Like the sign language I got, and that kind of makes sense because aren't they able to teach real monkeys some kind of sign language?
Yep.
But I could have sworn he said a word.
Oh, that I didn't catch.
All right, I'm gonna watch it again. But I might be drunk the second time, so maybe I won't catch it at all.
Oh, that's all right. Hey, look what came in today.
Oh, nice. That's a good one. And I was going to say, me and my buddy Sean, after we followed up Godzilla versus Kong, we did a double feature with Ape 3D, which, holy smokes, that movie. Have you guys ever seen that?
No.
Oh, you got to see it. It's so bad that it's just bad. But it was, I got to say, I think it was more entertaining than Godzilla vs. Kong. It's a Korean knockoff of the 76 King Kong. So this came out in 75 or 76, and it's the terrible looking monkey suit, and he attacks Korea. And Joanna Kearns from Growing Pains is the Fay Ray character. And it's awful, but entertaining, and it's in 3D. So it's like it's ape spelled out with apostrophes in it in between, and then a 3D. But it's on Blu-ray. I think Kino put it out. And if you are looking for something like a really bad but fun movie, Ape 3D is pretty terrible. I mean, like the opening movie, like you guys might remember this. There was a Famous Monsters cover that somebody painted, and it said ape versus shark to make it look like it was like King Kong in the water fighting Jaws. But it was actually for this Ape 3D movie. And the opening scene of the movie is the guy in the monkey suit. It looks like it's in somebody's swimming pool, and he's wrestling a dead shark, an actual shark, but it's obviously dead. And he's just thrashing around with the corpse of this shark it's so terrible. And then at one point, when the helicopters come and attack him out in the fields, the monkey goes like this to the helicopters. I mean, it's so ridiculous. It's but fun. But
I'll be looking this up probably tomorrow, like I did.
I was going to say, I got to see this.
Ape 3D. It's got to be on Amazon, probably for $20.
When you told us about that, I watched that the next day, The Last Shark. And then what was the other one? Claws, what was it called? The tiger movie?
Oh, Jesus. That's the one with Tippi Hedren. Christ. Pete, help me out
family
here.
that lives with all the cats, the giant cats.
Yeah, Christ.
Roar, right? Or something like
Roar,
that.
yes, that's it. Roar.
Yes.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I got the olds. I can't remember.
Yep. So I'll be looking this one up tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, Ape 3D. It's a really bad schlocky. But don't get schlock. That's terrible.
Schlock. Oof.
Yeah, I've got. Have you ever seen that?
Long time ago.
I was telling Sean the story. As a kid, I saw Schlock on the movie channel in like 1981 or 82, and I hated it. But Arrow had a sale, and I needed one more disc, so I got the Blu-ray for $10. And I'm like, I should have listened to my 10-year-old self. This movie is awful, but the suit is great. But don't fall for it again. So nobody buys Schlock. But if you can get Ape 3D for cheap, it's worth like $20.
There you go. There you go.
And I did watch over the weekend. I rewatched the original King Kong, Son of Kong, and Mighty Joe Young. And holy smokes, I hadn't seen the original King Kong in probably 40 years. I couldn't believe how violent it was.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I'm like, how did they get away with this in 1933?
Yeah.
I mean, fucking King Kong, you see him eating people and stepping on people.
Yeah.
And ripping monsters apart.
Those fights are good. Him fighting with the dinosaurs is great.
Oh,
but playing with Fay Ray's boobs.
And speaking of which, I wasn't going to go there, Pete, but since we did, how about the part when earlier on when Fay Ray's on the ship and she's in a totally see-through shirt with her nipples poking out, and then somebody calls her and she runs to the camera and her boobs are jiggling with no bra in her hard nipples.
1933, right?
1933. I'm like, holy Christ.
There's a reason why that is one of the greatest movies of all time.
No doubt. People must have been losing their shit. Yeah. Right? Because you watch like Dracula and Frankenstein in 1931. It's nothing compared to this.
Yeah,
this movie's insane.
You know what, Rich? That is an amazing shirt you're wearing.
That is great.
Sorry, not to just break off from the King Kong discussion. I just happened to be looking. I'm like, holy crap, look at that.
No, that's a classic.
It's got my boy in the corner there too.
Yeah, they're all there, man. You got King Caesar, man.
King Caesar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was so bummed with this new Mecha. I didn't like that Mechagodzilla design at all.
Well, we got spoiled with the best one from the 70s, so.
Yeah,
no, Kong is great. The original Kong. I got that on Blu-ray recently. I got to watch it. Which version do you have?
I saw it on Turner Classic Movies. Right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're replaying all three of them.
But I got to tell you, after watching, because I have never bought King Kong.
Oh, really? I think I've rebought King Kong like
a few
5 times.
Now I'm convinced. I'm like, wow. Like when they did those close-ups, when they had the big Kong head. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, this is fucking insane. I'm like, we wouldn't even see Bela Lugosi bite people. And we got King Kong chewing people like they're popcorn.
Yeah.
He's stepping on people and smothering them in the mud. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And then I started wondering, I'm like, all right, so the version that I saw as a kid on WOR on Channel 9, like, was a lot of this stuff cut? Because I don't remember.
Probably, but commercials, yeah, they probably did take a few things out.
And I got to be honest, the whole beginning with Carl Denham and stuff, I don't remember any of that. Like, I remember she steals the apple. That's what I remember as the beginning. I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen it. But the couple of minutes before that, where Carl Denham's talking about his next production and going to Africa and whatever, I was like, wow, I don't remember this.
The reason why we got Godzilla in 1954, Toho, the biggest inspiration for that was the original King Kong.
Yeah, it was really something. And I thought Mighty Joe Young was really good too, although of course it's just a toned down version of King Kong.
Well, Mighty Joe Young's a lot of fun.
And Son of Kong still sucks.
Yeah, but it's kind of charming for what it is. Yeah. Really bad for him in the end and all this kind of stuff.
Oh, totally. Again, it's a heartbreaker. And like we said on one of the other calls, Pete, I get to the end and go, so we're going to kill the franchise because we're going to sink the whole island? What? We could have made all these other movies.
Why limit yourself, right? You just find another island, another giant.
There's another Kong. He had a sister. He had an uncle.
They went island hopping, right? So they're around.
Take him to Chicago. Ruin that city. I mean, yeah. Just nuts, but yeah.
Oh, man. All right. There you have it, everybody. A lot of giant monster talk here. So if you've seen the new film, Godzilla vs. Kong, give us your opinions down in the comments below. And I want to thank Rich and Chris for joining here on the Monsters. Once again, visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube. all the damn time. Next week, Monsters then come right back at you along with Dan Brown. We're going to do a ranking our top 5 episodes of George Romero horror classics. So stay tuned for that and a lot more here on the channel. For Rich Catino and Chris Alo, I am Pete Pardo. Good night, everybody.
Thanks, guys.